More than 30% of India's population is age 14 or younger. One company sees that opportunity in demographic. ACK Media is reinventing traditional Indian comic books as cartoons. Samir Patil is a former McKinsey consultant. He is the founder and CEO of ACK, and he's joining us this morning from Mumbai. Samir, we're so glad to have you on with us. So it seems like you have a sure thing in your business. I mean, you have the demographics. India has the increasing middle-class affluence. You have this, what some have said, a creeping cultural guilt among Indian parents. They want their kids to learn the traditional stories. So do you think you have a sure thing?
Yeah. I think so. You know, I made this big leap based on that belief. And the last 2 years that I've been running it has more or less proven that, you know, there is a market that we all can see and calculate. I think there are, of course, challenges. India is still a developing market when it comes to the things that have worked very well outside, for example, you know, merchandise and so on. But I see a huge opportunity in television. I see a huge opportunity in retail. So I think there are two very big areas which is, you know, ripe for someone to scale up.
So, Samir, let's talk about exactly what it is that you're trying to do. I mean, you're bringing traditional Indian stories, instead of comic books, to the comic version. You're bringing it to cartoons. You're bringing it basically to kids who have grown up on the web, texting, etc.
Exactly. So there are four things we are doing. Number one, we are essentially taking the comic books and making more products out of them for the physical consumer products business, right? So we are taking these comic books, creating home videos out of them, creating merchandise, creating, activity books and a whole bunch of things that they hadn't done before. So that's just expanding the consumer products portfolio. And essentially the two big things there are digitizing it and, you know, doing much better job at distribution. It's a supply chain management thing. The second part is around reinventing them for broadcast television and for film, which is a big thing, and you probably might have read about it, but that's really a significant initiative where we're taking these comic books and using these characters to create animated stories. And we have two huge advantages there. A, of course, people know these characters, and B, we actually have a lot of the artwork and the designs already in place to create these animated stories. So that's a big
I don't want
to
cut you off there, but I do want to ask you, I mean, you don't own the exclusive rights. I mean, these are traditional stories. They've been around for thousands of years. So do you have to develop new material?
Yes and no. So in our stable, we have actually two groups of things. One is these open source stories, so to speak, and we also have a lot of some of the best known Indian characters that have homegrown characters like Supandi and Shikari Shambhu and all that. So those actually are our own proprietary characters. So as we invest in films and television content, we are making sure we balance these two. We will do more characters, but we do have a lot of proprietary characters that we can, reinvent for television.
So you want to show even Indian children there's more to life than Harry Potter?
Surely.
All right. Well, talk to us.
We already know that from all the Hindi films.
Of course, of course. But demographically, I mean, how do you plan to really make this have its effect on the bottom line, let's say?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the numbers, right, there are 314 million or so kids, right, more than the population of the US and Europe. And if you look at the spending, 8 to 10 cities today account for around 80–90% of the spend, right? That's another macro factor. The third is if you look at the categories of spend after groceries, I think the second most important spend, or the second largest spend, is entertainment, education, and media. The one big difference between India and the rest of the world is that people are very value conscious, and so to crack the market you have to give them products that they think are giving their kids certain advantage, right? They're learning about their culture, or it's educationally important. I think that is important, and then of course just it's a natural growth in the market. We just need to ride the wave.
It there. I'm sorry about that. Samir Patil, founder and CEO of ACK Media.